everyone, Angela here with ElaCateDesigns, and I am back with one final journal that will be listed in the Etsy grand opening on Friday. So this is the Collector Revised. I had made this journal quite a while ago, and long story short, I still have it. So I made a few changes to it and added to it. And this is a giant hardback that pretty much has everything including the kitchen sink in it. So I'm not going to do a super detailed flip through because I don't want to take a half an hour to go through this journal. And at the size that it is, you might need it. So everything is coffee stained. It is fully, vintage style, and it is full of printable ephemera. I have added some real ephemera in here from my personal stash. There is a little bit of everything. This is an envelope I made out of some vintage linens. There's book pages and poetry and coloring book and office, and I have multiple handmade collaged journaling cards that have coffee stain paper sewn onto the back of them for journaling. So there's quite a few of those throughout the journal. Some envelopes, tags, fibers. I mean, this is everything but the kitchen sink. Envelope that has a vellum pocket on it. There's tabs. I have the dangle paper clips, glassine bags. This one is actually baking parchment that I've made into a bag. There's a ton of sewing in here. This is just attached with a paper clip. Vintage buttons, vintage doilies. This also is just attached on with a paper clip. And it's a journaling card as well as it has a little pocket. This is one of the black and white photos, 1950, from my stash. And I just thought it was stinking adorable. So that's one of the authentic pieces that's in here. We've got sari silk. This is one of my collaged tags, and it's also got some of my very rustic beginner's hand embroidery on there. Just a myriad of different papers and paper bag. Got one of the Tim Holtz altered tags clipped on there with a rusted safety pin. Some tabs stapled on. A vintage playing card. This is also an envelope. And there's quite a few different digital designers that I used throughout here. There's a lot of Tsunami Rose, Ephemera's Vintage Garden, Graphics Fairy. This is also some vintage tickets that I stuck in this pocket with a little journal card. Tag, an altered paper bag. This is just a cute coffee stained pink envelope because being the collector, there's a little bit of everything in here. coffee stained index card that I just added a little bit of vintage lace to. You can journal on. Vellum map. I just love that sound. Crinkle, crinkle, goodness. Hand crocheted flower that I have turned into a paper clip. A large pocket here. I don't have things in every single pocket or bag because it was already alligator mouth busting at the seams. Vintage bridge score sheet and another one of the dangle clips there. So there's still a ton of room to like journal in here. Whoever decides that they need this journal, you'll probably need to remove some of the items. This here is a floating pocket that's collaged, and it has some vintage wallpaper on the back. And these, I got the floating wallpaper pocket ideas from Nazi, who's Amity Bloom on YouTube. Just a vintage, I think that's mother of pearl, if I'm not mistaken. Button clipped on there, and this is a vintage game card. It's a car game called Touring. Picked up in an antique shop. The cards are just really pretty and kind of cool in the graphic aspect. This is just some muslin that I've hand stamped. There is vintage recipe card that I did coffee stain. Another collaged tag. This here is a piece of play money. I don't know what the game is from or what game it's from. Just one of those things I picked up in an antique shop. Some vintage lace down here, as well as clipped onto the paper clip there. There's quite a bit of vintage lace throughout this journal. And this fabric here is also vintage fabric that I've used on some of the tabs. There's some book pages in here. This is a large pocket, and this is another one of the collaged journaling cards. Envelope. Clipped here is one of the heart, not one of, it's a heart locket that I have clipped there. Glassine bag with some vintage lace and a vintage flashcard. That's the word I'm looking for. Sometimes the words just don't come to the brain. This here is a vintage dairy order sheet ticket, and you have both the original and the copy. And also some vintage play money. This is a floating pocket clipped on that has the lace, and then you can also journal on the back if you want. It's just made from the manila file folder that's been coffee stained. Another little pocket here. This is some vintage book page. I think it's in French, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But I just stuck that in there, and you can do with it whatever your heart so desires. Another pocket. There's lots and lots of pockets in this journal too. And belly band. some hand-dyed seam binding up there. I have another one of my, well, this is like a fabric journaling tag, but there's paper on the back so you can journal on it. Vintage ticket and a recipe card for Boston cream pie. Because who doesn't need a recipe for pie? This is some book pages from an art book that I thought was really beautiful and wanted to include. This cute little file folder is 7 Gypsies. It's not vintage or anything, but it's cute, so it went in there. Like I said, there's pretty much everything, kind of including the kitchen sink. Another large pocket. And this is a fold out with another collaged journaling card. Fingers don't want to work today, I tell you. This is a chiffon pocket that's been sewn on. Flips up, you can journal underneath. And then it just has a giant tag in it that is topped with a hand crocheted flower. And I got this idea from Beth Wallen. I had to research this because it was so long ago that I made it. I don't remember what all was in it. And this here is a cute little postcard that is also a little pocket with vellum. And another vintage black and white photograph. Another dangle. All right, got one more signature I gotta flip through, so bear with me. More goodies. This is a vintage playing card, one of the itty bitty mini ones. I thought was stinking adorable. Little jingle bell. Another collaged journaling card there. This, I had a full book of the S&H? Yeah, S&H. Green stamps. So I took one of the pages out of the book and included it in here. So you can use that for collage, whatever you'd like. Some Edith Holden quotes. Page from a quotes book, famous quotes. This is another vintage flashcard, not super vintage, but probably from like late 80s, early 90s. Which technically is over 20 years, so not antique, but vintage. On this here I have a cute little golden crown clipped. And this is a old Baker's Drug Store prescription call check. And it has all the pieces attached. So I just folded that and stuck it in there. And that is the back with the tag. So that is the everything but the kitchen sink, kind of maybe including the kitchen sink collector revised. Will be up in the Etsy shop on Friday for the grand reopening. Thanks for stopping by, and you guys all have a wonderful day. Lots of love. Bye now.